Hey guys, this is John Callum from Kuhol Motorsport. This is a video about more updates to Coupe all-wheel drive. But in the meantime, my background right now is this our project Honda CBR 150R. Like what I said, it's for sale, guys. If you guys are interested, please hit us up on our Facebook. But if you guys don't want it, then I'll happily keep it. Changes on the last video. It has a tank bag, and I don't know if you could see. On the opposite side, there's another utility box, very tiny, just to store like the paperwork of the bike. But at least there's a tank bag. Not really permanently installed. It's magnetically mounted and strapped in. It is still removable. It's not mounted like on a tank flange setup, but see, it looks good. It looks ready to take on a long journey and look good while doing that long journey. So I'm pretty happy with how the bike has turned out. It has been reliable. We've restored it to very drivable condition. I registered it also with the LTO so I could drive it anywhere. It's just probably one last thing I have to do is tires. The Pirellis are made in 2015 for this one. But since they are Pirellis, they're still pretty grippy considering their age. But as and when I need to take this for a long drive, then I'll probably buy new tires for this bike. But it looks pretty nice for me in my estimation. I like it. So it serves as a nice background for now. Now here is Project Coupe all-wheel drive floating on the two-post lifter again. The engine is in, as you will see shortly. But let's look at the other small updates to the car. You can see the engine is in. You can see the crank pulley of the engine. It's a Hyundai Sonata crank pulley. Unfortunately, due to the drive belt setup, we cannot use the Evo 8 crank pulley. So that precludes us from using a better crank pulley or crank damper that like a ATI or fluid damper, which is something that we wanted to use if we could afford it, because we are running a 2.3 stroker. So a fluid damper or an ATI pulley would have helped to give us the peace of mind we feel that the engine would last on elevated RPMs. You can also see the oil filter. This is temporary. It's kind of scratch and dented. This is an old oil filter. We'll be replacing it as and when we break in the engine. Okay, it's mounted on the side. We'll probably put a sandwich plate so that we can have our oil cooler back. Something yellow on the suspension. These are very old Bilstein shocks. Inverted strut for the Evo 8. So it bolts on the Evo 4 knuckle and paired with the Evo 4 brakes. We're not gonna go Brembos. We're not gonna go 17s on this car. We want to maintain the 16-inch wheel. We don't want to go too big. We just are targeting the stock Evo tire size 205, 50, 16. As you can see, the engine is in. We first cranked it with the starter to see if everything is moving and everything is in order with regards to the timing and all that. So once we were able to verify that everything is spinning freely, after some diagnostics with the fuel system, the engine ran. However, there wasn't adequate oil pressure. And most likely, we have to replace the oil pump. As the engine starts up, there's a bit of a clanking noise. Once the engine heats up, it starts to gall and seize. It seems to stop running. So I think it's really lacking oil. As of the
editing of this video, the oil pump has finally arrived, and hopefully we could get it installed soon, and then we can get the engine running and broken in. Hopefully with no more mishaps. Crossing fingers.
Okay guys, let's take a look underneath. So this is a down pipe for an Evo 8. It doesn't exactly fit an Evo 4 application. If you can see, the pipe goes downward here. There's a kink here, actually. Here, there's kink over here. So that impedes on ground clearance. Evo 8 has higher floor clearance, especially for the transfer case and all that. Because the transfer case output is mounted higher than the Evo 4, 5, 6. And we wrapped it with some header wrap. Actually, we did this just to make sure that our new oil turbo drain hose doesn't prematurely break. Because you saw in the last video that this is what we had to do for the lower drain hose. So this hose is EPDM, should last, should resist the petroleum, but I don't know about the heat of the exhaust. So this actually has additional wrapping onto it when it's fully installed. Then we just fitted this fitting, welded up some stainless pipe to clear. This oil pan really has kicked our butts. I hope that we could have just used the stock oil pan. That would have been way easier than to rely on this one. So much modifications we had to do to clear the starter. This is where the starter is mounted to make and create that space. Had to do a lot of welding and rewelding, and we had it done outside. And even then, it's imperfect, so you find these epoxy spots. So I don't know if they will hold, but anyway, we can revisit this one again in a future date. Maybe what I will do is have the whole pan recast, probably. Or if I could really find a decent fabricator who could make us a steel pan from scratch. Based on what little we have run this engine, there are no leaks here from this part of the engine. So hopefully this should hold for now. We have a very different setup for the charge piping. Okay, supposedly this charge pipe from the turbo, it goes here and around on the bumper and all that for a front mount. But we're not running a front mount, we're running an air to water intercooler. And there's no space to reroute the charge piping directly to the other side. So what we are making now is a letter U that goes underneath the cross member. It's not ideal, so definitely between this piping and the battery location, this is definitely not a rough road rally car, but we can easily make some sort of guard to on the cross member, some sort of angle piece right over here, so that the charge piping does not bear so much grinding when we encounter road obstacles. It's gonna go on a letter U just to go underneath cross member, but we'll let you know how that will go. We're still waiting on some intake piping, some silicone hoses, and when that comes, we'll be able to really complete this piping. At least we have our tires, courtesy of Sumax. We have the Max Drifting Z1 into 055016 ready to be fitted in the car. Between Project Elantra V6 and the Coupe all-wheel drive, they use the same size tire. This will first be used on our Elantra. It's a nice grippy tire with a nice tread pattern. It's pretty cool. Thank you, Sumax Philippines, for the hookup. We've also replaced the turbo. This is the Evo 4 Turbo. Uh, the thing about the Evo 4 Turbo, it has a turbine housing of 9 cm. So it is the smallest of the Evo 4 to 9 turbos, and with regards to the turbine housing. So we were able to locate an Evo 5 Turbo with a 10.5 exhaust housing. So that should give us a little bit more efficiency, a little bit more power, but more so since we are a 2.3 stroker, that should eliminate some surge. But that will impact the drivability of the car on partial throttle. So given the fact that this is a street car, we want this car to be easy to drive. So if it is temperamental on partial throttle, it's gonna be no bueno. We're really quite busy at the shop, and we really want to finish the coupe very quickly. Unfortunately, we are still working on two cars. Actually, there's a third car over here that we're working on. So we're pretty swamped. So we have a coupe, GK coupe, that we are rebuilding the engine on stock specs. And of course, perennially, we have this Sprinter Gen 1 big body. But we're still working hard on our Project Coupe all-wheel drive. Hopefully, we get to drive it finally and enjoy all what we have done to the car. So until the next update, this is John Callum from Kuhol Motorsport. Hope to see you in the next video. Ciao guys.